Good afternoon. I'm just from watching the minister's updates on COVID, and I must say that the situation is getting more and more worrying. It's getting more and more worrying. Can you imagine today? We recorded 206 cases. That is quite high. And on top of that, 6 more COVID-related cases, with 5 of them BID, brought in dead. This is very serious. This is getting really serious. From the way the minister has been presenting, the updates, it's getting serious. I think we need to close schools. We need to close schools. The situation doesn't look good. Look, if Parliament has closed, how can we leave schools open? Think of it. Parliament has got only a population of about 200, just about over 200. But think of schools. I know we are only looking at examination classes, but in some of these schools, those examination classes, they are amounting to 500 pupils. And even if we say no, there is this social distancing and what measures are being taken, what about Parliament, where we have adults, members of Parliament, responsible adults, leaders? They have, the situation has not been okay, which has necessitated them to close Parliament. But what about schools? And you see, the thing is that for Parliament, it's because those leaders are able to test. But the pupils in these schools are not able to test. They're not able to test. Let's just imagine if the Ministry of Health picked even just 10 schools here in Lusaka, just 10 schools, and conduct testing. I can assure you the numbers that will come out of those schools would be very high. From looking at what is currently happening in the general public, it is highly likely that we have got COVID-19 in these schools. And surely, we can't pretend here. We can't pretend. These children cannot be too careful. If we elders are failing to be too careful, what about children? And even the way COVID is being transmitted, it's like an airborne, it's like an airborne disease. So it's very difficult really to contain it. I think at this point in time, we have cause to close schools. I do understand it's only examination classes and there are exams that are supposed to be written, but unfortunately, this is highly risky. We need to close schools. Even these churches which opened, I think we need to close them because the numbers keep going up. They keep going up, and that projection which they have given that, during this time by September we'll be having over 1,000, 1,000 deaths. That's not very good. So I think let's close schools. Let's close churches. It doesn't look good. Please, let's close schools because I know that it will not be easy for the Ministry of Health to test, our pupils around these schools. It's not easy because already, the test kits, let's face it, there is a shortage of test kits. There are people who want to be tested, but they can't be tested there and then. I know that there are some people who are actually in hospitals and they are still waiting for the results because they have not been tested. So the test kits are not available. And it is just not easy to test these children. So therefore, I am please asking that can we close down schools? Let us close schools, otherwise the situation doesn't look good. Look at that team, Red Arrows, I think. There is that team which was tested. Out of 52, 28 tested positive. Those are indicators that things are not really so good. Look at that hospital, Fairview. Look at how many staff were tested positive. Things don't look good. We don't need those gatherings in schools. We don't need our children spending time in school. Members of parliament were only going to parliament for a short time. But we have allowed schools, we have allowed our children to go to school, from morning up to evening. You see? So, first of all, in schools, children are gathering. That's the first thing. Secondly, we are keeping them there for a long time. So the chances of our children contracting coronavirus are very, very high. Please let us close schools. There is nothing pressing. Yes, I mean, we do understand everything has been disturbed. So even the exams, surely, you can't say that it can be business as usual. We can't expect our children to write exams in the normal way. It just can't happen. So let us just withdraw them. Let us withdraw them from our schools, and let us wait for the situation, to change. Because as it is, we would rather have them home than start picking them from schools, either sick or, God forbid, being taken to the hospital very seriously. Please let us close the schools immediately. President Edgar Lungu, step in. You have done so well so far, but at this point in time, you need to step in and upscale the measures. And number one, reduce, let's stop these gatherings. And my first, I'm looking at, my first, attention is drawn to schools. Those are gatherings, and children, it's very difficult, especially at primary level, but even at secondary level, it's very difficult. So please, let us close schools. I end there.